Hello, and it's fiscal. It's Saturday. It happens to be 8 o'clock Eastern time right now. If I check my Apple Watch. Now, do you know what happens at Saturday, 8 o'clock Eastern that other people may be doing here?
Well, so I've heard about things. I've heard many things. Some of them very bad.
Very nasty things. Nasty things.
Yeah. Like,
somebody interfered with our network connection. He's already doing strangulations on our programming here for a second. I think somebody may be interfering with Fiscal's microphone, everybody. I think we all know who it is. Boo!
Yeah, we had a little bit of a little technical issue, but I think I fixed it.
That's good. That's good.
Yes.
We
So
already got hackers.
I know. Well, I suspect Cheyenne's taking us down.
It might be. It might be. It might be.
So, anyway, I guess he should put hacking on his LinkedIn there as well. But anyways,
cybersecurity.
So I've heard people drink.
Yeah, that's a fact.
I've heard they use some of Altria Group's products, which I thank them for as a shareholder. Yeah, a little bit of that. I heard they maybe drink a little of the Devil's Piss, aka Bud Light.
Oh, where would they be getting that Bud Light though? It's certainly not Target.
I hope not. I mean, last time I was at the Target aisle, at the alcohol aisle in Target, and I wasn't really stalking anyone there, I promise, but nobody was buying the Bud Light, I noticed.
Yeah, a bit of a fun fact, if you're on the Discord link in description, we have people sending pictures of legit random people wearing Crocs in public. I swear to God, that's a true thing. So very, very eventful things happening. But honestly, Fiscal,
yeah,
a big event happened this week. A really big event happened this week.
You could say that.
You could say that it's, quite frankly, bigger than the other events that we've done so far on the channel here. We hit 100 subscribers, everybody. Now, before we get our special guest on tonight, I think it's important to say our given thanks, because we're not a bunch of faceless channels on here. We actually have personality. We actually have lives. We don't live off of the British healthcare and pump out 5 YouTube videos per day for you guys. I know you guys love us, but that's a little over the top, wouldn't you think, Fiscal?
I mean, much as they love me, they might get tired of me after. I mean,
yeah,
the lack of real shirts. Actually, I am kind of wearing a real shirt tonight.
Oh, no.
A bit of a deviation.
Not for the 100 subscriber special. I don't expect that shirt.
Yeah, I mean, at least I didn't put a collar on it.
Yeah. Speaking of shirts, before we get into our regularly scheduled programming, check out the Dividend Stocks Not Drugs merchandise. You won't see Dividend Talks wearing this kind of stuff. He can't even fit in the smallest shirt that we have. He's too skinny. He doesn't have big enough arms. He doesn't go to the gym like real men investing. So thank you. But I did hint it for the last couple weeks. I said that we had some big guests coming on, and next week is our 100 subscriber special. And we're loading the deck, you could say. And without further ado, welcome in, everybody. Welcome in, Nick. Nick from Dividend Growth Income. Hello, Nick. Welcome on.
Hey, how's it going?
I am just, yes, coming in just fine. I am ready for this. So there are so many topics. There are so many places. But before we do that, Nick, would you like to tell the people who may not know about your channel where they can find you and what you focus on?
Absolutely. The channel is at Div Growth Income. I focus on dividend growth, investing, building a passive income stream for retirement.
Real man's investing, what we call it on this channel. Real man's investing.
So I'm looking for my Streamlabs. Will it come up on a web page? I just have so many windows open. I'm just trying to get organized here.
I have no clue, but you're coming in just fine. If there's anything, we'll let you know. But Nick, would you like to? Typically, when we have guests on, we ask them like, where did they start their investing journey? What kind of provoked you to begin investing in the first place? What age did you start? How did you get exposed? Give us a autobiography, you could say.
All right. Well, I'm actually a guy in my early 40s, right? I'm 42. Okay, so a little older than you guys. I got into investing when I was about 32, 33, about 10 years ago, I'd say. I mean, I just made some of the wrong decisions when I was your guys' age, I'd say. And so I got started a little bit later. I became a father when I was about 30, 31, realizing, hey, I don't want to just work the rest of my life and try to live off, Social Security, which may or may not be there. So I started to look at different ways to, get myself out of that hopefully a little earlier. Probably not going to be, retiring early like maybe you guys might be able to at your age, but I'm
I'm
looking to be
36.
retired.
Just getting that out there.
Okay.
You say you guys and I'm 36.
Okay,
I'm right there with you, buddy.
And I'm legal.
All right, cool.
I'm
I
legal.
thought you guys
That's
were
all I'm saying.
both about 20 or something.
All right, I'll take it.
That's what going to the gym does. I'm wearing the Do Dividend Stocks Not Drugs merchandise. I'm just saying.
Absolutely.
But please continue.
I kind of lost my train of thought, but yeah. So we got into dividend investing. Probably, I started in the dividend invest probably about 7 years ago. Had some bumps along the way. Went through a divorce. Where I lost a lot of my assets in that. I had to split them. I had to sell a lot of my stocks. Kind of start over. And once I got kind of past that, was what made me start my channel. When I started a new portfolio on the channel as well, kind of like a fresh start sort of thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Definitely. I feel like we share, a lot in common, like, not the exact same age, but similar, I would say similar group. We're both, you would consider yourself a millennial, right?
I'm right on that border between millennials and Gen X, I would say,
Yeah. And I'm like, I guess I'm on like the older side of millennials, probably like
right.
the older like quartile of millennials. So yeah, definitely. I think a lot of shared experience with like probably recognize a lot of the same 90s cartoons and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was the
thinking in my
Teenage
chair
Mutant
over
Ninja
here.
Turtles and grew up on, Nintendo.
And you and I, we would both probably remember some of the stuff that happened even during like the .com, bubble, the 2008, 2009 financial crisis and stuff. Like we probably weren't really investing back then, but at least we were conscious and able to like read a newspaper or watch, the TV news or whatever at that time and kind of understand that there is like this sort of cycle of euphoria and fear out there.
That was around the Y2K time when they thought, all our computers were going to shut down on the turn of the century.
Yeah, low key, my dad
bubble,
stockpiled jugs of water in our storage room for that.
Yeah, I was in college, and that's probably one of my biggest regrets in life is that I wasn't into even saving money back then. I was very much, making dumb decisions, living in the moment. YOLO,
If you got the experience, that's all that matters.
Yeah,
hey, age brings perspective.
The good thing about getting
from the
old,
most boring 18-year-old ever.
Hey, dude, I'm so honestly that makes me proud. You're 18 and you're on a Saturday night. You're here talking about dividend stocks and wealth,
Not drugs,
not drugs, right?
Not drugs, exactly.
Like this is what you're doing what I should have done. So
yeah, okay, there's always room for a nose beer here and there. Let's just say that. But speaking of nose beers, what kind? Do we want to talk about the DC situation, or do we want to save that for later in the show? I think DT.
Oh.
Cheyenne, our good friend Cheyenne. I think we wait a little bit for that.
I think yeah. I mean, I pretty much said what needs to be said on that topic. I think
save the bread and butter for later.
Yeah.
But would you say you definitely started off with more of like the typical dividend yield investing kind of approach when you began, dividend growth investing?
Sure. And even today, I still fall into that trap. You see my portfolio of AT&T. That's not the first time I bought AT&T, and not the last time. Well, it's gonna be the last time, right? But I've bought 18 before. I sold out when they spun off the Warner Brothers thing and cut the dividend, and then I thought, well, now it looks like it's kind of stable, but that's just chasing yield. You're buying it. That's the only reason you're buying that, right? So I decided, if you're only buying a stock for its dividend, unless like you're using it to pay your bills, like that's not a worthwhile way to invest your money.
I agree. Yeah, I was a former AT&T fanboy myself. You can go back and look at like videos from 2 or 3 years ago. It was my biggest position at one point. So AT&T, John Stanky. I remember all the memories of holding AT&T. There'd always be like the first. They just paid out this week, right? On February 1st. I remember these things. These things.
Yep, that'll be my last one. I'm selling out of that here in the next couple.
You're hearing it here first, guys.
Yeah.
No, I told him on my portfolio review.
Yeah.
I already decided it was
the
time.
Smallest position in your portfolio, though, right? Off the top of my head. All right.
It is.
Would you be in the red right now? You'd say.
Barely. If the dividend's probably not. Yeah.
Oh, that's fine then. I got out a little in the red. It was really nothing in the grand scheme.
I mean, and it's not enough of an investment. I mean, I have like a couple $100 wrapped up in it. So if I'm down $10 or $20, that's not gonna have any significant in the portfolio, right?
You could buy a Starbucks drink with that $10 or $20.
Shh, that's a Starbucks drink.
Sure.
And maybe one of the new Valentine's Day beverages.
Yeah.
I got rid of Shamir got rid of T and Verizon last summer. Fiscal, you still hold Verizon, don't you?
Yep. In at 37, doing quite well, especially if you consider dividends and options premium.
Would you like to share your thesis on it? Because I'm not too sure if anybody here.
Oh no, I'm heavily criticized for Verizon. I just thought at 37 it was pretty obvious. It was at kind of that low point in late 2022. Everything was getting crushed, and it's like, hey, this produces very consistent cash flow. Probably isn't going to stop doing that anytime soon. And people, people are selling off in anticipation of higher interest rates, but now people are buying back in anticipation of lower interest rates. It trades a lot like a bond, and so I'm probably going to start selling calls on it like pretty aggressively and letting it go in the next probably year to 2 years. I think I'll probably unload it maybe sooner.
Can respect that. AT&T, I feel like we talked about it on the weekly recap, Fiscal, but I feel like every AT&T earnings report, they'd always beat on top and bottom line, but there would always be some random reason, like the WWE or like some crazy like plot twist for just a crash like 5 or 6%.
Lead cables, bro.
I know the AT&T saga was one to be remembered.
Yeah.
Definitely a pivotal point in my investing journey, to say the least.
100%. Yeah. But yeah, I never jumped in on AT&T just because like I could see if you wanted, the up and comer fast grower that's like trying to take market share, you might go with T-Mobile. If you wanted the established leader, the one that has the reputation for all that best network stuff, the one making the most investments in 5G, well, that's Verizon. What's AT&T bringing to the table?
They had Warner Brothers Discovery,
but then they don't.
Before they spun it off.
Yeah, and so I'm sitting there like, I don't know. So never really looked. They never really caught my eye, even with the high yield.
My play there now is American Tower REIT. It's the towers that Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T lease, to broadcast their signals and such.
They dipped not too long ago, right? Did you get them when they were down?
Yeah, I got about 4 shares in my Roth. I think it's a position that's up for me at the moment a little bit. So I'd like to add a little bit to that this year if I can. They grow their dividend every quarter just about. So very consistent, very high growth rate for a REIT. It's one I really like.
Yeah.
Speaking of REITs, Fiscal, you're having a good conversation before on your Discord regarding Vici Properties.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a bit of a comparison between Stabulo, I know you're in the chat, MPW and Vici. And I had to defend Vici. The thing with the argument basically that was being made was that Vici had a tenant in Caesars that went bankrupt in 2013, I believe. And the press or like the overall sentiment on MPW versus Vici or like Caesars, whatever, would be wildly different. And my argument was that I just think that the land on the Vegas Strip, no matter the vendor, they'd have an easy time replacing that and even having like pricing power. Like that land is always going to be in crazy demand. Like somebody's going to want to buy it. Whereas maybe with MPW, there's way less. It's not the highest vacation destination in the world. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm not an MPW basher. I made one video and I'm moving on.
All right. Well, I appreciate
50-50.
that. I appreciate that. I would just say that, in a lot of cases, a lot of those hospitals are in locations where the demand for hospital beds outweighs the supply. And so in that sense, isn't that real estate just as in demand? I mean, it's not like it's that easy to materialize a new hospital into existence either.
Yeah, you're right. But at the same time, there's always going to be hospitals. There's only one Vegas Strip. So I just think it would, in like the amount of demand it would have, if we're going like economics terminology here, there'd be a lot more demand for a place like the Vegas Strip, especially recently with the growth. But there still is demand with the hospitals. I just think that the magnitude of the demand is different. That's what I was trying to say. The 50-50 quote is going to be, that's a quote of the year candidate. We have to add that to the quote of the year. That was one of our best shows that we ever did. The quote of the year within the End Year Award show.
Yeah. So,
And
Nick, any ideas about have you looked at the MPW stuff? I mean, the algorithm loves videos on
we've
that
got
stuff.
15 new viewers in here. Oh my God. Oh my, thank you, Susan. Oh, thank you.
It's not for me, honestly. I don't see myself. I had a little bit that I dumped a while back for a small loss before it really tanked. I saw the Steward that was not going to be sustainable. The signs were there, last year. I thought so. I kind of sold out of it. It's just not really something I think you were talking about circle of competence in your video the other day. I don't really want to get into that what's going on with the Steward hospitals and their debt, and they're not getting rent and all that. It's just not for me right now.
And for a REIT, I feel like it's one of the easiest businesses that you should be able to understand. Like when it comes to like circle of competency. And I just feel like for a lot of people, and that's probably why it's trading at a crazy discount right now, Fiscal. A lot of people just don't want to be dealing with that. Same as utilities too. Like you think a utility, look at NextEra Energy. Like it's unneeded, you got to do all sorts of research. And for the type of business that you're buying and the return that you're likely going to get, typically there's just,
Sure.
Double D's in the chat.
Not everybody wants volatility.
No, I mean, you're comparing Vici to MPW. I don't really think there's a comparison. One's very speculative. The other one, I think, is a pretty solid investment for the next.
We need Joseph Carlson.
Jordan or Stabulo would definitely disagree about there being a big difference.
He's on the MPW train.
Yeah,
but hey, we have different opinions on the Cash Flow Kings live, and that's why you should smash the like button.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's to me chasing yield. I mean, it's right now I'm looking at it. It's yielding 18.29%. That's not even. Their Simply Safe dividend scores at 20 right now.
Yeah, I'm not even in it for the dividend at all.
That's a real man's investor.
I mean, it could be a turnaround play, but it's just so speculative at this point. It's almost like gambling to me. I mean, because you just don't know what's going to happen with this, and I just think there's just way better places to invest. My opinion. Yeah.
I will say this, though. A lot of people are going to be shut up if it makes a recovery, like a wild recovery.
the victory lap will be real. Forget a victory lap. It's going to be a victory tour.
It absolutely can. Yeah, it totally could. I just see better opportunities, I would say. I don't really see taking the chance right now.
Double D's, the REIT analyst comes in and says,
I mean, he's right, though. He's right.
Vici's a great business, while the others clear.
That's wild. That's wild.
And full disclosure, I do live in Vegas, so there's the bias there. But
I want to move to Vegas one day. I'm going to say, do you live near Jeremy? That's a question. Hopefully, it's not too personal, but do you know if Jeremy's near?
You mean the YouTuber?
Financial Education.
Lefebvre or whatever. Yeah, he's I think he lives kind of probably a few miles down. I live on the west side. Yeah.
If you go to Target, I would beware. That's all I gotta say.
Oh man,
don't go to the Tattooed Chef frozen food aisle.
Well, speaking of victory laps, have you seen him on his Meta victory tour?
Oh my gosh, dude, we're gonna talk about Meta. We should talk about that now. Meta pays a dividend now. Meta's a dividend stock. The jiu-jitsu prodigy Mark Zuckerberg, most rich jiu-jitsu practitioner in the world, now especially at that extra 700 mil he's making from those dividends. Who saw that coming?
You know what? I really thought Amazon or Google would have been the first to make that move because it seemed like they had a little more, reason to do that. But Facebook, I'm not buying it. I just put a video out. I'm not going to buy it or anything now. But I think it's just too volatile of a stock. It's come up too much. There's so much controversy around it. It's always in the news for something. Like the other day, they had Mark Zuckerberg in front of Congress, berated him and embarrassed him. But there's always something in the news with Facebook, Meta. I always call it Facebook because I'm old, but.
It's all right.
I just think there'll be opportunities for that one, and it's not right now. It's my opinion.
If you are buying Meta because they pay a dividend now, you should not be buying Meta. 100%. I was not buying in the first place simply because I don't think that the social media business is like amazing, and other things are just better opportunities. Yeah, I get there's a lot of ads and advertising and stuff, but I just personally don't love it as a business. So me personally, I'm avoiding it.
What do you think of Google or Alphabet in comparison?
I think Google's different in the case. It's like YouTube. I think YouTube's it's way in a different league than Instagram and Facebook.
Sure.
When it comes to like education and all that, there's not even like, I think when it comes to like content distribution, sure, there's Kick and Rumble or whatever now. They're not even close to overpassing YouTube. YouTube's it has a moat over the, video distribution. And I'm saying a lot of this to get a higher CPM for us right now. So, but Google, I was so close. I literally had it when it was at 106. I had the buy order in and I didn't go through with it. I regret that now.
You have a handful of shares in a retirement account for Google, and it's done pretty well so far.
So I mean, I had sold puts on Google and Meta both when they were in like the 80s and 90s in late 2022, and I didn't get assigned on them, but I got assigned on like Baba and more Intel, which Intel worked out fine, so that's great. But I'm now in hindsight like disappointed that I didn't get assigned shares on those cash secured puts, but that was the game I was playing, and so womp womp.
I do think Zuckerberg's a genius though, because we watched the Zuckerberg movie, the one they made on him growing up basically, and how like the Facebook, or it was called The Social Network.
The Social Network, that was about 10 years ago. Yeah.
It's a solid movie. We watched it.
That movie's 10 years old now. Where's the time gone?
Something like that. I might be older than that. What year is it?
It's always really,
it's really 15 years old, because I think it was like 2010 when that came out.
Oh, bro.
It's so awkward. It's so awkward in classes though, because they would have like club scenes and like sex scenes during the movie, and like it's just during class the teacher wouldn't skip it. Like I'm not saying he's a creep, but it was just very uncomfortable.
That's kind of weird, sketchy.
Yeah, I always hate that. If you're in school and you know that feeling. Ew, Amazon's becoming a cash generator. Legendary moment on the show involves Amazon's profitability and free cash flow growth. The real ones will know that reference.
Yeah.
I think a couple shares of Google.
You could say margins were involved, but
I think Google's a buy and hold. Just hold it.
We have a good question here. Double D's comes in and asks, I read some up of One Up on Wall Street, and as a question, what stocks do you guys think could be 10 baggers here?
I mean, that's not.
Well, I think they're mostly are going to be stocks that nobody's talking about right now.
Yeah.
To be honest, they're good companies that are like they're at like 500 million market cap right now, producing good cash flow that'll be 5 billion in 6 or 8 or 10 years, and nobody was talking about them because they were small cap.
I'm going Target and Starbucks, the small cap stocks that I've been accused of pumping on the channel before.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, maybe Palantir if you buy the continued growth story and the AI narrative and everything. Maybe SoFi if you buy that they're the future of all finance disruption or whatever. But
maybe
maybe
Kroger because Max comes in and says MPW. MPW, and it goes from 1 cent to 10 cents before going to 0. Absolutely. Yeah, but I think nobody's. Wow, record 19 viewers on the channel. That's an all-time high.
All right, keep them coming, guys. Make sure you like it too. Make sure you like it. Help the algorithm out.
Yeah, smash the like button. Speaking of smash the like button, we're gonna get into the bread and butter. Fiscal, you dropped a nuclear bomb, and Nick, I'm going to start calling you Dr. Oppenheimer because you created the original atomic bomb. There is a creator who we have offered over $220 and a free Starbucks coffee to come onto the channel, and we have still not heard back from him. That would be none other than our good friend Shair. Dividend talks.
Cheyenne, I thought.
Cheyenne, I don't. Shamir and Shair. That's what's getting to me. It's the Shamir and Shair.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. He threw you off by saying so many things in the chat. You were thinking 2 things at the same time.
Yeah. So, Nick, would you like to talk a little bit to anybody who doesn't know what your video entails a little bit?
Well, I definitely encourage you to check out the video. Maybe we can drop it in the comments or something.
We should. Indeed, I will.
I mean, basically, there's this guy who's started up a channel a little less than a year ago. And
I'm sorry to intervene, but how did you get exposed to him in the first place?
Just Twitter, YouTube, just seeing him.
So he got like suggested to you and whatnot?
Yeah, I mean,
How could it not
he
be?
would also he used to comment on my posts and such, you know. So I
Oh.
saw him there.
Mm-hmm.
I think he even commented on my YouTube, but he basically is ripping off people's thumbnails, and the worst part of it though is he is ripping off the Dividendology spreadsheet. He basically, I call it the wish.com version of basically the Dividendology channel, which is a super successful channel.
Yep.
Hit 100,000 subscribers. Congratulations to our friend in Dividendology for hitting 100,000 subs, by the way.
100 Genos.
Yeah.
Congrats to Divology. You're
He basically made a copycat channel. And I mean, you know, we all post a lot of the same videos, a lot of the same type of content, right?
Mhm.
And
yeah, sure.
you know, but he takes it to a level where he's just straight up ripping off other people's stuff and pumping out a lot of I've not really watched it, but he's pumping out a lot of videos. It just looks like very low quality, maybe AI generated.
5 in a day.
And he's the spreadsheet he's selling. He's marked it up by about 10 times, and it's not his.
That's the real 10x here.
Yeah. I thought when I saw what he did to fiscal philosophy, your channel, that was especially messed up. You know?
Yeah. And he actually did an MPW video today with the fire in the ears again, like the day after I made an update, because there was some news that came out and stuff. But yeah, it's pretty egregious, to be honest with you. And then there's that one guy trolling in the comments how like he's 10 times better than you. And
cool.
No, the same guy actually strolled into my comments and was like, I'm imagining DT wringing his hands, thinking how this new thumbnail will now be his. So that guy's just clearly just stirring the pot because he finds the whole thing funny. But yeah, it's definitely wrong. I think what he's doing. It's like, bro, there's no like there. I'm a big tent guy. I think there's plenty of room for a lot of voices on stocks and investing, but like, and it's cool to be inspired by other people. Like I saw there's this guy named Jason Faber. He's dividend and growth or dividends and income.
Oh yeah. I mean, he was one of the guys who inspired me to get into dividend investing back when he had the Dividend Mantra blog.
Yeah. And he has his early retirement blueprint and all that stuff. Like that's one of the channels that, you know, inspired me to start like researching dividend stocks. And now I don't only buy dividend stocks now, but that it was the first thing that opened my eyes to, you know, dividend growth investing as a concept and got me at least researching and down the rabbit hole. And like, hey, there's plenty of, I could definitely say like there's elements of, you know, what I do that I think are inspired by him and by a lot of others in this space. But it's like, I try to add my own little flavor to it. I don't think that any of us here like just straight up like looks at somebody's channel and says, okay, I'm taking all of that. It belongs to me now. I has it, you know, it's just piracy of the highest order.
The oversaturation thing is wild too. Because
that too.
That's the one that really affects the smaller like creators. You can't upload. I was talking to Dividend Dashboard. Like it's just hard to compete with sometimes. Don't live off of British healthcare.
Sure. I mean, you're flooding a lot of low quality content out there into the algorithm, and he's copying titles and stuff. He's figured out some of the tricks, obviously.
Yeah.
From some of the successful creators. And I encourage people with YouTube channels to do that. Look at successful channels. What are they doing? How could you incorporate that into your channel and make that work for you? Absolutely. But don't just straight up rip a guy's thumbnail and title, and don't take his content and resell it, right?
19,000 subscribers.
I could point to YouTubers that I've been inspired by. Like my portfolio and the way I do that was very much inspired by JJ Buckner and how he did his portfolio videos. You've seen those, you know. And Russ Dapper Dividends, my channel's highly inspired by his too.
We got to have him on sometime.
He's great. Yeah, he's fantastic.
Nicest setup in the finance community too.
yeah, for sure. So and we should help each other out and, you know, promote honest creators, you know, but call out the BS we're seeing from Cheyenne.
So Cheyenne, if you want $220 and a Starbucks card that hopefully I don't get a job over in the UK and start working at Starbucks, better hope I don't see you. I will spit in your coffee, and I will do it with pleasure. So maybe for 1K we'll have a Cash Flow Kings viewer meetup in the UK with Stabula. We'll have a nice little meetup.
All right,
Absolutely.
Hey, you know me, I'll fly out anywhere.
Ryan Williamson.
For sure. Ryan's got a great channel. I've worked with him a little bit.
Oh, yeah, he's got a nice setup too.
Yeah, he does. He's here in Vegas too. He's newer here.
And that'd be crazy because I've called out Jeremy before, but I actually respect Jeremy a little more now, but not after this meta thing. Joseph Carlson.
I mean, he's what he is. He does his thing, Respect the hustle.
There could be a lot worse. Dividend Talks has made Joseph Carlson and Jeremy look like a bunch of choir boys.
I agree. Yeah.
I mean, that's definitely the thing. Like, it definitely has put some perspective on like some of the stuff. It's like, well, at least the people that we've criticized before for like our disagreement about their ideas, at least they're more original, and they like, at least they're somewhat showing their authentic personalities and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I was almost convinced that DT was a robot, like for the lack of personality or anything in any of the, and it's like, what is Chat GPT's best approximation of what a, dividend investment YouTube channel should look like?
Fiscal, speaking of Chat GPT,
yeah,
I've been messing around this week. I've had some pretty devious thoughts.
Yeah.
I made our video title with the dividend investor CPA. I made like the highlight video. I did that with AI. I wanted to see how it would look in the algorithm. I don't plan on redoing it. I made this one myself, but I don't think titles are really that hard to make if you have half a brain. So
right.
I just wanted to test out and see how it would work. No one other than Jeremy can find so many company. I'm scared because Jeremy.
What about Jim Cramer?
I'm sorry. Meta stock is down 5%.
Tattooed chef.
No, but I want to move to Vegas one day. That's definitely a very favorable
tattooed chef, place. Or as a strongman calls it, tattooed sweaty trucker.
Yeah, Vegas is great. I mean, it's a 24-hour town. We have, as long as you don't mind the heat in the summer, the weather year round's pretty nice.
That's what AC is for.
Yeah, that's what AC is for. I mean, today I had the AC on in my car when I was drove my daughter to a birthday party earlier. And
nice.
The AC is on today, so.
I have seen though it does snow there occasionally. It's not Buffalo level snow.
Very occasionally, but what it does is it snows in the mountains here, so I can go visit the snow. I can go drive up to it and be in it if I want, but it doesn't ever really snow here in the valley. Maybe once every 5 years, and even when it does that, it doesn't stick for more than a couple hours or something.
Yeah, I'm in Phoenix, so also a desert.
Yeah, person. Same exact kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yep. Frozen hellhole Buffalo right now. Most enjoyable place weather-wise on earth. But did you see what happened this week, Fiscal? Jobs. There's lots of new jobs. And do you know why? Do you know why the jobs are coming in? They're coming in because they know that I'm coming back. That's what it is. That's why the stock market's going up too. But there are over 350,000 jobs versus the expected 185,000. Now, I'm a fella who enjoys a good stock market dip. This is not indicator of a good stock market dip coming soon. So Fiscal and Nick, would you guys like to share your thoughts on good jobs?
Yeah. So, I mean, myself, like when it comes to this, how, a good jobs report affects the stock market, like that kind of, I don't know, month to month, quarter to quarter stuff that comes out that people like to react to in the stock market. I call it the noise. It's like, ooh, what's Chairman Powell going to do? Ooh, what was the jobs report? Unemployment went up 0.5%. Like, I tend to ignore that kind of stuff.
It gets me mad when it has the market go up, though.
I mean, yeah, because, obviously the market going down can be buying opportunities, but like it doesn't change how I think about what I'm going to invest in at all.
Yeah, me neither.
For sure. Yeah, I also remember it's an election year. That can add some extra variables into the situation too.
I think the funniest part in this, like this should be funny no matter what political spectrum you're on. Trump is like saying that the stock market's going up because everybody thinks he's going to be back. That's just funny. I'm not a big political person, but no matter what side of the spectrum you're on, that's pretty funny.
That seems tremendously narcissistic. If
It's
you
coming up, and we know
Well,
why it's coming up.
You couldn't run for president if you don't have some narcissism in you, right? So,
Yeah.
True.
All
Clearly, I'm the best person to be in charge of everything.
The Mark Zuckerberg thing was hilarious, though, to bring it back to that point. He was grilled in front of Congress this week, and they gave him the opportunity to apologize of like victims of kids who must have injured themselves, or I don't want to get
right.
With all due respect, like how is Mark Zuckerberg? I know he can control things, but that's a lot of. It seems like a very politically skewed attack. I'm not saying it
very much so.
Not out of the dirt or whatever, but
hot take. If you're dying of lung cancer, you shouldn't be able to sue Altria Group because everybody knows smoking's bad for you. Give me a freaking break. If you're fat, you shouldn't be able to sue McDonald's because put down the burger and get on a treadmill.
I mean, I guess you could make the argument though that teenagers are more vulnerable, but like at the same time,
you know what? How about you sue the parents for being absent and not like limiting their kids' screen time or whatever? Yeah. Not. I mean. Where's the accountability
statement right there?
Because it's not, say, politically prudent to blame the half-assed parents, and so you got to blame Mark Zuckerberg because he's the one that's really responsible. Blah blah blah.
The apology was it was funny. It was just so awkward,
over the top, and like
I'm very sorry for what you guys have had to endure. And we are making the leading investments into making sure this never happens again.
Gosh, what do you think would have happened if he would have just like given them like the biggest middle finger in the world and just said, "I'm rich, F you guys, you're all stupid," and just like that was his testimony. Like he has an army of lawyers. Like, what could they do to him?
Yeah, he can't. I've learned that a lot of people, when you get money, it's very hard to lock them up.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't think I would have been able to be as conciliatory as him in that situation. We'll just say.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Nick, are you part of the Twitter monetization program?
I'm not. I'm still confused on how to get there because
I am too.
I have like 11,000 followers, 11.5, I think, but I don't get the views. I don't have enough impressions. And then I see people with like a few followers showing that they got paid. I'm like, I know. How's this work out? So I don't know.
I don't.
Dividend dude has them. How did you do that, man? Help me.
Give us the secrets, bro.
Give us He's
in the chat.
He's got the YouTube or the Twitter game on lock.
How did he do that? I'd like to know. I mean, it'd just be a nice extra source of a little bit of,
It's not like it's mentally straining either. Like I can easily do that at school or at the gym. That's what I've been doing. And hey, if you haven't already, follow my Twitter. It's literally that. It's let your boy get a few extra dollars for Starbucks. And speaking of Starbucks fiscal, big week, giant week, biggest earnings report yet. The nicest and best CEO, they call him, because his name's Laxman. But overall, very good earnings report from Starbucks. They barely missed on top and bottom line. Fiscal, you've been doing some Starbucks research recently. So I'm a channel member. I get the analysis request.
Yes. So, I mean, I don't think this is news, but China is huge for Starbucks, right? Like when you look at the growth they're getting in China compared to the US or anywhere else, it's incredible. And you know how I feel about China. I think China is okay to invest in. And
a lot of people don't think that though.
Right. Yeah. And they have the fastest growing middle class in the world. So it makes sense that, again, like Becky in accounting needs her latte. Like who's going to be the next Becky in accounting? The fastest growing middle class in the world is still in China. Their per capita GDP is growing. Who's going to be the biggest, future market in the next few years for those really, really expensive lattes? It's going to be in China.
I want to pull this up though.
GDP
there
in the world,
is a big thing for a lot of people. They didn't like the consistency of the free cash flow. And recently their 2023 results came in and it's going back up. Obviously, 2020 anomaly year, 2021 even more of an anomaly year. but the consistency's there, and I think a lot of people are going to start appreciating that.
And in fairness, isn't some of that capex from opening new stores?
I would think so.
Yeah. So if you think the new stores are good and going to generate more free cash flow in the future, then like who cares if it's down a little bit now? That's my view.
36% return on invested capital, like that too.
Yeah, they're very good business at the end of the day. I'm a Starbucks bull for life, and as long as Laxman is the CEO, I don't care. But the biggest thing for me, essentially, the rewards app is one of the biggest drivers of growth for them. Essentially, they've been utilizing offers in the afternoon and times where they figured out people aren't coming in as much to get people to come into the stores. And another thing that's absolutely wild, and I think this could lead to a buying opportunity a long time, they said that the events in the Middle East are currently impacting their business politically. So I did some due diligence and research. The Starbucks unions were basically claiming that they were pro-Palestine on behalf of the entire corporation. And now Starbucks, they have to sue them because obviously Starbucks doesn't want a political image attached to any side, no matter what the side is. So now that's leading to a lot of people interpreting that, Starbucks is pro-Israel and Palestine. So I'm hoping that leads to a bit of a dip. These are one of the simple things where it's a big misunderstanding and it could lead to a dip. So keep your eyes out for that. If there's any big, dips because of that. If there even is one right now, you could make it. You can. What if Laxman has been mistakenly called laxative?
On that note, buy some Lockheed Martin or Northrop Grumman or something too.
Yeah. So I like trading at a lower valuation, more growth in stores in China than Starbucks, but I can't. Ooh, Luckin. That's another coffee company. Nowhere near the amount of brand strength I think Starbucks has, though.
Yeah. You worried about Cosmics at all?
Hell no.
Nah. Well, I'm a McDonald's investor. I own both. So.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I mean, people love coffee. There's room enough for two big coffee players.
And they only have one store. It's not like they're going to start seeing. People are addicted to Starbucks. I have found that out from firsthand experience.
Yeah.
I can't say that I personally am, but I can say that people they go back there a lot.
Oh yeah, and I can tell you, and this is anecdotal DD, but anywhere I travel in the world, you go to every airport, there's a line at the Starbucks.
$8 coffees.
Definitely.
You go to any mall in the world, even in poor countries, there is a crowd of people at the Starbucks all times of the day that they're open.
Eddie comes in and he asks about Wendy's. What do we think about Wendy's?
I would pass on that one personally.
McDonald's is
better. It looks a little rough. I've looked at Wendy's a little bit, and it's cheaper, like as far as the valuation metrics, but it looks weaker financially.
The quality drop off is definitely big.
Yeah.
Or Yum Brands.
I would go with them before I go with Wendy's. I'd say that.
Yeah, Yum Brands. It's it's a similar issue because I think they're the ones that used to be owned by Pepsi, like Pizza Hut and KFC and
Taco Bell and KFC.
Yeah. And they're okay brands, but I feel like those brands have fallen out of favor a lot.
I think a lot of it is the quality of their products have gone so downhill in the last 20 years. Pizza Hut used to be like the best place to go with your family to get pizza 20, 30 years ago. And now it's cardboard. It's awful. It's greasy. I can't eat that crap.
25, 30 years ago, that's where we had our family, we would have birthday parties and stuff at Pizza Hut, and it was great. But now, like, the only time I've ever had Pizza Hut is when a delivery person left it outside my door by mistake, and they meant it for somebody in another building.
I love when that happens.
Passive income right there. That's a free
free lunch. Yeah. I can't eat that stuff. But I mean, as far as an investment, Yum, I would buy that over, say, a Wendy's. They're definitely more stable.
They built a Pizza Hut down the road. So, Nick, I think I covered this in the video I just recently did, but when do you plan to live off of these dividends for anybody who didn't watch that or doesn't
live off them? I mean, to me, it's more of getting
start using them. Start
using them. I'm probably thinking in the next 10 to 15 years. It's just going to kind of depend on how that goes. But something like that. But I don't know if I ever see myself fully like retired. I kind of want to make it more like work optional, location optional, once I'm
comfortability.
Once my kids growing up, and having side hustles like my YouTube channel that should still generate some money to be able to do maybe contract work, but just not have to work, the 9-to-5 deal. I'd like to get out of the 9-to-5 race in the next 10 years, let's say that.
That's
But
achievable for sure for you.
That doesn't mean I want to, just retire and go live on the beach. I wouldn't be able to do that, anyway. I'd still need to have some means of making some extra cash, I think. But, I would like to start using them here in about 10 to 15 years, I think.
I will say this. I think your YouTube does have big potential, though, especially considering you're
that.
only at 20K. I think
it's, it's growing. I would like it to grow faster, but it's growing, so it's cool.
Hey, at least you're not, putting out 5 videos a day, same thumbnail.
I don't have time for that, but
yeah. I was scanning chat too fast. I said, weird is an Al company. I was wondering if we have that. Oh, Barista Fire sounds something I'd be interested in too, for sure. Run the YouTube channel, get my dividends every month, work at Starbucks. That would be
Starbucks side hustle.
The lifestyle of my dreams. Yeah. But if you guys didn't know already, essentially, for every guest on the Discord, if you have any questions that you would like, pre-ask before, obviously in live chat, if you can't make it or whatever, you want us to answer them, leave them in the Discord. And we have Double D's coming in here, and he takes over Matt's spot for the current title of, question askers in the Discord. So thank you to Double D's. He has some questions here. Thought on Amazon and Meta's are amazing earnings. Do you plan to buy these companies? I'll start from the top. No, I don't plan to personally buy.
I'm not buying them either.
Not even prices.
Yeah, I'd like to see a dip in Amazon. That would be the one I'm more likely to buy at this point. But I think they both have come up so much that it's just not the time for me. Not to say they couldn't continue to go up as they have been, but I think the time to buy those was last year.
Yeah, definitely. What stock is at the top of your watch list right now? What stock is at a discount at the all-time highs in the market? I think that's kind of one question.
Okay, so on top of my watch list right now, definitely been looking at United Health, adding to that position.
My issue with United Health is it's way too complicated for me to personally circle competence-wise. There's so much in it. Same with pharma too. AbbVie is plenty for me.
Yeah, sure. And I own some AbbVie, an older account. I have like a $99 cost basis in AbbVie.
Yeah, I would say Home Depot for me.
Home Depot is on my list too. I'd like to add more to them. They're a little on the pricey side right now, but I'm more of like, buying a good quality company at a fair price versus crappy qualities at a great price. I'm not looking to buy like MPW right now because it's cheap.
Fiscal, it's your turn now. You gotta come back with your watch list stock.
Oh, sure. So I'm probably Discover Financial Services.
Good choice.
It's good. It's not Starbucks, but it's good still.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of that, guess who got their first credit card? And Fiscal, wait till the capital expenditures come in for the cash flow kings. I will personally be using that to build my credit.
All right, sounds good.
What is a discounted stock at all-time highs in the market? I think Visa right now. I know it's at all-time highs, but if you look at their price to earnings and price to free cash flow, it's actually gone down because of how they grow their business. That's my answer.
I think it's fair price. I don't think it's a discount, but I don't think.
Oh yeah, I agree for sure.
It's not a bad buy. I've been buying MasterCard in my YouTube account. I've been buying $100 of it every week since New Year's, just because I think my portfolio really needed some more of that kind of lower yield, higher growth kind of play. So that's another one's on my watch list. And as far as it's at a discount, I think if you look at Pfizer, it's at a discount. That's not all-time highs, but
my issue is Pfizer. You have all this money. The lack of dividend growth, number one.
Yeah.
Total return, number two. You have all this money from these vaccines, and you're still paying Travis Kelce $30 million to do an ad for you. You got to be paying out dividends with that money. You got to be paying. You got to be doing better things with that capital, in my opinion.
While this cheap do buybacks, bro. Like, come on.
Do they do buy? I don't.
I'm looking right now. They do buy. They haven't in a few years, but in 2014 there was 6.42 million shares outstanding. Today there's 5.71, but it's been 5.71 for about 4 years. So it's not really changed in the last 5-6 years.
Since you're all pretty big creators, wow, I'm flattered.
It's flattering, yeah.
The hardest thing about YouTube. And what are your plans and best advice to give people who want to start up a YouTube channel in the investing space? Oh, that's a
thoughtful question.
Okay, think of what you can add to it that's not already being done.
Starbucks stock
consistent.
is on a discount today.
And like I was saying earlier, I mean, we're all making a lot of the same type of content, but try to do something unique with your own spin on it, and just be consistent about it. It's a grind, but you keep putting videos out, and study your analytics and learn what your audience likes.
Yeah.
Mine for that my advice would be to just start, even if you have no idea how to edit a video, how to set up OBS, anything like that. Just do it. Just break the ice and do your first video. And even if it's crappy, like upload it and learn from the experience and try to do better on the next one.
Absolutely.
Because like my early work was not great. And like I still wouldn't even call what I make today great, but it's
better than Dividend talks.
You go back a year though and look at the comparison, and it's like, is this even the same channel? And I'm hoping a year from now we might be saying, I might be able to look back to today and say the same thing. And that's really my top advice on that.
Yeah, I'd say if you're looking back at a couple of years, you're not kind of embarrassed by it, then you're not growing.
I agree. I would say remain level-headed.
Yep. Because
it's very easy to get rather discouraged when stuff goes up, and especially starting comparing yourself to like your really good months, especially when you get monetized too. And you start treating it more of a hobby, but actually a business as well. I think just remain level-headed and don't quit. If you actually enjoy it, you won't quit. You'll enjoy the process and journey along the way. So yeah,
don't do it for the money, because I mean, if you're getting started, you're not going to make a lot of money until you're,
Yeah. What is your favorite place to eat at if you had to pick?
Mm-hmm.
We have local places here.
Yeah, local places here in Vegas I like. Nothing you'd know.
I mean, I'll plug. I mean, it's not necessarily my favorite place, but it's somewhere I've been going a good amount recently. Is Texas Roadhouse, and since their stocks are traded, I'll give them a little plug. Not sponsored, but I had the 23-ounce porterhouse T-bone today, and
oh wow,
it's quite good. Quite good.
What their cash flow king's money is going to go to when they start getting monetized.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, obviously there's places I've been that are, probably you would consider better, but again, they might be local to where they were at and not really an option just anywhere. But I mean, there's Texas Roadhouse pretty much everywhere. So yeah, there you go.
Oh, this is a good one. What's your lowest conviction holding and your highest conviction holding? Ooh.
Highest conviction holding is probably Microsoft. I'm just going to hold it.
NextAir Energy and Microsoft for me. NextAir Energy is the lowest.
8. Well, right now I'm not going to count the ones I'm selling off.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, you can't.
Because I'm selling AT&T. I'm going to probably sell Kinder Morgan. I'm going to sell Best Buy as well.
Fiscal likes Best Buy.
I mean, I like them, but I just don't know that 10 years from now I cannot justify still owning that, given their. I think you can see them become like a Circuit City Radio Shack sort of.
Yeah.
I haven't pulled the trigger on Best Buy, but I do think that they've done a much better job of transitioning to the more digital landscape. Yeah. I mean, I have and again, this is Jeremy level due diligence on Best Buy, but I have an anecdotal experience recently where I was shopping for like an indoor security camera. Like I like to have that when I'm out of town, like a motion detector camera, like just for my own peace of mind. And the same product was available on bestbuy.com versus Amazon. The price was pretty similar and everything, but Best Buy had like literally free next day shipping. Amazon, even with Prime, which I have, couldn't get it to me faster. And that just really impressed me that Best Buy was able to do that. And like, there wasn't really like a big price difference or anything like that. They used some kind of local courier of some sort that I've never heard of before, but they got the product to my door ASAP. And they basically, it seems like they're closing down superfluous retail locations, keeping just one open in like a geographic area and using it also as like a distribution hub for like delivering stuff to people's door. So I think that that's probably a pretty solid model, and it seems to be working for them. I mean, it seems like they generate a good amount of cash and everything. So, it might be worth having a little.
And I have a little, but I decided anything under $500 in my portfolio I'm just going to cut. And that was And my conviction in it isn't strong enough, although I'll acknowledge it could certainly continue doing what it's been doing, because they've been writing Best Buy off for the last 20 years, and Best Buy has been consistently coming out saying, no, they're doing pretty good, right?
We got a good question from Scott on Fiscal server, and it was, if you were
let me give my highest and the lowest.
Oh, my bad, I cut you off.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Track.
So, all right, so highest, I like, in an overall sense, like highest conviction that it will be better X number of years from now than it is today, and compound and everything reliably. Comcast,
good one.
Easily the highest conviction as far as where it could go from here.
This doesn't include the SCHD killer too. This doesn't.
No, I'm only including my value portfolio. Like I can't weigh that stuff when in something where I just put together 50 different stocks. There's no way to like really thoroughly vet 50 stocks. I don't care who you are. Lowest, geez, like I probably have a few that could go in that. Maybe like I want to say, because of like some of the banking stuff that's happened with regional banks, probably KeyBank right now, KeyCorp
over Walgreens.
Oh, I got rid of Walgreens last year.
Yeah, because frankly, like regional banks have a vulnerability of potentially going to zero if there's a run on them. Walgreens isn't going to zero. Just saying,
Yeah.
It's also not a business on the rise either.
Yeah.
No. But like, I think if something's going to be your lowest conviction, it's the one that you could envision the worst possible outcome for compared to anything else that you've got. And I think KeyBank's the potentially most vulnerable.
We got a question from Eddie coming in again. He asked, do you guys have any ETFs you invest in, or just individual stocks?
Absolutely. I mean, I have VOO, S&P 500, SCHD, I have VYM.
Are you going to consider selling out of VYM or SCHD and going it all in one of the dividend ETFs, because they are very similar?
No, it's an experiment I'm running. I'm buying them. I buy them in equal amounts every time I buy them, and so I'm just kind of tracking it. I don't really see a disadvantage to having both. I think it's nice to have both. I see what you're saying, though. I just don't.
Yeah. I never thought of that perspective. I just own SCHD, and hopefully VU or SPY here once we get the Cash Flow Kings LLC going.
Yeah, and I own a lot more SCHD, because if you look at my Roth, I was buying a share every week last year and buying a share every week this year. So I'm loading up on SCHD, and then my 401k is it's all S&P 500. It's basically VOO SPY.
No, SCHD I think is really good for your situation too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's great.
It gives you good growth and really quality yield too. Fiscal.
Zero ETFs, all individual stocks.
Real man's investing.
No problem with that. I mean, that's
I mean, if I'm gonna sit here and say, oh, I think I can pick them, then I'm gonna go out there and damn well pick them. Like let the chips fall where they may.
Scott asks from Fiscal server, if you were a professional wrestler, what would your finisher be? I'm going choke slam.
I don't know.
My own move, I'm calling it, and I think I told him this. I'm calling it the short squeeze, where I take the air right out of you.
I don't have anything clever for that. So.
The Dividend talks RKO.
The Dividend slap. How about?
And then Dividend Dude comes in with the last questions. Thoughts on stocks that are more of a story and more speculative? I would say that's a Joseph Carlson holding.
So I mean, I think Nvidia is one where it's a lot of story, and it's like
same with Tattooed Chef. God rest your soul.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to go with bankrupted stocks because I feel like that's kind of cheating. But
Jeremy chose it.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I mean, I think Nvidia is one that's where it's like there's just this massive euphoria behind it. That's I mean, it deserves a good valuation. It deserves like a premium potentially, but hundreds of times its earnings and stuff. Like, I mean, come on. You have to basically
fine. Year to date, this is just a month, 33% in just the last year on Nvidia. So in the last year, it's done 204%, 2x.
Yeah, and is it 33% better of a business in the last month? No,
it's not. No, 5 years, 1,673% gain.
It's a 10 times better company than it was at that time.
Yeah.
Apparently.
I bought like 5 shares of AMD back when the stock market crashed in 2020 and COVID for like $45. Now it's like $180. Like, damn, why didn't I buy more of that?
Yeah.
Fiscal, before we hop out here, we didn't talk about the Altria buybacks.
Oh, I know.
I was very pleased when I saw they were buying back $1 billion shares.
Yeah. $1 billion worth of shares.
Yeah.
$1 billion worth? Have they been doing that? They sure have, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
and I mean, hey, that's over 1% of the shares outstanding. And if they just keep doing that, fairly consistently over time, that's going to increase our piece of the pie for just doing nothing. We get more equity, a bigger pice of that cash flow.
They're still growing that dividend 4% too.
Yeah.
As long as the
more
payout ratio 80%. That's
the latest is 4%. Their 5-year average is 8%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they had to slow it down some. I mean, they had to spend some money on Enjoy.
I mean, your yield is at 9 or 10%. It just would be kind of dumb to expect an 8, 9, or 10% hike at that point, I think.
I do think at some point they're gonna. I mean, they have pricing power, but at some point they're not gonna be able to keep bringing these prices up. And
I think the hope is that by that time where they can't. Well, one thing, people are addicted to the products. A spade's a spade.
No doubt, absolutely. I'm a former addicted to Altria's products myself. So
hey, we quit though.
We quit.
Real man's investing. I'd like to see it.
Good for you. But
10 years.
I think there's the strategy is to keep offsetting any loss in combustible revenue with vaping. Basically,
they're gonna build up that.
Maybe the 420 cannabis. I don't know.
Well, they have an investment in Kronos, but that part is super speculative, but it is a possible upside, right? If it does take off, then we get a big windfall. But if it doesn't, then we just don't count on it,
If they're chewable nicotine, it's freaking I know it. It's not Enjoy. I'm gonna dang it, I messed it up. But I know that there's Zyn and chewable nicotine. It's called oral. This is horrible. This is embarrassing as a shareholder to have this happen to me. Altria Co. Zyn. So basically, there's a new thing called Zins, which are very popular with young people. And if somebody in the comment section wants to correct me here, but Zins are a huge thing amongst my generation. From somebody who.
Are you possibly thinking about On?
Yes, On. My bad. Okay. Yes, it is On.
Okay.
But essentially, Zins are huge right now. That's like the new big thing. So yesterday, I went to the bathroom because I had to clear my throat, and I'm washing my hands, and some kid comes up from behind me, and he's like, "Yo, you do Zins, bro?" And I had a piece of gum on my upper lip, so I think he might have thought that it was a Zin or whatever. I'm like, no, I'm like, nicotine isn't good for you, right? And he's like, yeah, but I'm trying to quit vaping. I'm like,
cold turkey is the way to do it. If you want to quit, you just gotta get through it.
Yeah,
that's how you do it.
And Starbucks. All right. Well, we're at the 1 hour, 3 minute mark. This was a pleasure.
This was a great conversation, guys. We should do it again for sure.
We need to.
100%.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Next week, guys. So, Nick, do you want to plug anything before we head out here? Plug your channel, Twitter.
Yeah, if you would like to visit my channel, it's at Div Growth Income. Probably leave a link there in the description. Check it out and check these guys out. And make sure you like this video. The Dividend Avengers.
Yes, Dividend Avengers. Hey, one day.
Follow him on Twitter. Help him get that monetization.
Yeah, we get monetized on Twitter too. It'd be cool.
Spam and re-like and post all of his stuff.
Yeah,
like money here.
Maybe I should just start copying all of Dividend Talks tweets and pasting them, and just make my copycat.
That would be such a Chad
make a copycat Dividend Talks channel.
Yeah. So, thank you to the chat for everybody. This is probably our largest viewer engagement wise. And we appreciate it. It's
glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that, guys.
Consistency. Nick brings in the viewership. Hey, Nick might even have the title next week for highest viewed guest on the channel. So by 2024, who could we possibly have on here? Well, Dave Ramsey come on the
You
channel.
can get stronger guests than me for sure.
We'll get Kramer maybe sometime. Josh Brown from CNBC. And if I'm feeling frisky, Strongman. But hey, everybody, really thank you for coming in here. Check out, me and Fiscal's channels.
Absolutely.
We're a bunch of youngins. And the Do Dividend Stocks Not Drugs merchandise. So thank you all. Thank you once again to everybody in chat. Check out all of our stuff. Smash the like button, subscribe. Do Dividend Stocks Not Drugs. And of course, remember, cash flow
flow
is
king.
Cash flow is king.
Yeah.